Listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad you could join us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda. And for this week's episode, it's going to be a special happy anniversary episode to Allison and I, who are celebrating our 8th anniversary of it. Our anniversary is November 8th, 2014. Excuse me. So we have been married for 8 years, but it's also the 10th anniversary of our very first date. So November 8th is a very important, special date for us. So here on the show, obviously, is my wonderful, amazing wife, Allison. Allison, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing great. Thank you. And thank you again for joining me on this podcast. You're my favorite guest, so it's always great to have you on.
As I should be.
Yes. So I wanted to do something fun with this podcast. We've told our story. The very first episode was, us going over our elaborate story, how we met, how we fell in love, how we eventually got engaged and married. And then early this past summer, we got to do birthday episodes for us. So the listeners got to know you as a person better on your birthday, as well as when you took over the show and interviewed me for my birthday. So
that was fun.
It was fun, yeah. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, to give something new to our listeners so they're able to be still entertained and not necessarily just hear the same stuff that we would share, even though we would love sharing our stuff all the time. I'm not so sure our listeners wanted to hear it over and over again.
I think we're interesting.
Okay, so this is going to be fun. So Allison has some specific questions or story topics, talking points she wants to bring up. So do I. And I think it will be really interesting and fun to go over this and just have like a banter back and forth between the two of us. Which I think is always fun, maybe not necessarily a witty banter. So I'm reminded of that line from The Office with Kevin Malone, where he mentions that on the final Dundee's episode with Michael Scott, where he says, I love banter, but I hate witty banter. So this may not be super witty. So, so Kevin and anyone else who doesn't like witty banter will probably enjoy this. Okay, so thank you for joining me tonight.
I'm excited.
Okay, let's do this. I wanted to go a little bit more elaborate onto our first date, which happened again when this episode's released. It was 10 years ago to the date, on November 8th of 2012. So Allison and I had been given each other's numbers through sisters who set us up on a blind date, and we were finally able to connect. I don't know if I ever shared this part of the story with you, Allison, but the night that you called me, I didn't answer, and you left me a voice message. You remember that, right?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. So Allison had finally gone back to me and called me to set up the date, because I initially had called her, and she actually was, really busy as a nurse that wasn't able to return my phone call right away. This is the new stuff. But what made me new is that the night Allison called me to return the phone call, I didn't answer because I was at an LA Galaxy playoff game, a game that the Galaxy lost. So I was really bummed out about that. A goal that got given up in stoppage time as the game was ending. So they lost 1-0 on their home field, but then went on to defeat the San Jose Earthquakes and then win MLS Cup that year in 2012. And then, this year, some other Lane team won, but we don't have to talk about them. But that being said, it was an exciting game, this past weekend's MLS Cup. But anyways, so I got a phone call or a voice message from Allison, and I was super excited. Oh, wow. I get a phone call from Allison and we can go on our date. So I actually lifted up my spirits, and we decided on Chili's, right? And do you remember much about that night?
Yeah. I mean, I remember talking. We talked a lot, and I remember just feeling super comfortable with you, and just thinking you're a really great guy.
Oh, thank you. And what also was kind of jogging my memory a little bit was that night it rained really hard. There was a lot of rain, and here we are, just 10 years later, we're getting lots of rain again, which is kind of crazy. So almost kind of like deja vu in a way from 10 years ago. And then we saw the movie Wreck-It Ralph. I initially wasn't planning on the day continuing longer after Chili's in Glendora. But we went to the movies, so it was really, really fun. So Wreck-It Ralph has always played a special place in our relationship and marriage. And it was really fun that this past Halloween we got to dress up as the characters. So I know Allison really pushes that to do a family themed Halloween costume.
You love it too. Allison pushes, whatever.
Oh, you're funny. Well, Avery and I did get lots of compliments on Halloween night when we went trick or treating. Lots of random strangers just told us, "Oh, you guys look so cute." It was really fun. So that was fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So it's either going to be Wreck-It Ralph or the James Bond movie Skyfall. So we ended up going with Wreck-It Ralph. I don't know if we could have done a James Bond like themed Halloween costumes. That would have been appropriate for the family.
No.
But you did enjoy Skyfall when we eventually watched it, I think.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Was there anything else you wanted to reflect on our very first date from 10 years ago?
I mean, I think that was it. I just remember being really relaxed, and that's a nice feeling.
Mm-hmm. But Chili's also plays an important part in our marriage. And again, it's not that it was like that spectacular of a restaurant, and Chili's is great. So, but again, I think it will always hold a special place in our hearts because that's where we went for our first date. Mm-hmm. And the movie Wreck-It Ralph will always play a special place in our hearts because it's the first movie we saw as a couple. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine most couples could probably tell you, hey, what was the first movie you guys saw together? And I'd love to hear it. So if you follow the podcast on social media or follow me on social media, follow Allison on social media, let us know. What was the first movie you guys ever watched as a couple?
You really think people would remember?
I think so. I'm going to ask I'll ask in the description of this episode. I'll see if people respond or not. But I think most people probably would remember what they thought was the first movie.
I disagree. Let's see.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a social test, social experiment to see if people can remember. I'm going to say it's higher than 50%. I'm going to say it's probably closer to maybe like 70%.
No, 40% would remember. Most couples won't.
Oh, okay. Let's. Do you want to do a little wager on this?
Oh, yeah. I like to bet.
Okay. Do you have anything in mind, or do you want to think about it while we continue to talk?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I would love a nap. So whoever wins gets a nap.
In the Pineda household, that's the most like valuable thing ever. Okay, this Sunday. Okay, nap time for longer nap, because sometimes I think we'll cave and say, you can have a nap too when we do that.
Right.
The winner gets the longer nap on Sunday.
Please don't remember, people. I need a nap.
Okay, so we'll post this on social media. We'll have Allison post it as well, because I think Allison reaches more people.
Yeah.
And then so we'll see. So I'm guessing it's okay. I'm saying over under. So I guess it's higher than 50%.
No, that's not very close. You said 70% initially.
No, but I mean, it would be even if it's like less than 50% or if it's more than 50%.
Oh, okay. I'm on board.
So you see, it's half and half.
Okay, deal.
So if it ends up being like 49%, then you win.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
that helps my odds actually.
Okay,
because I think it's less than that.
Oh no, I'm confident it's more.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Okay, very cool. Great. So do you have any talking points for me? I have several that I wanted to bring up, but I wanted to just kind of go like a back and forth banter between the two of us. And I feel like I've been talking a little too much to start this podcast.
No, I think it's good. Start off.
Okay. No, you go. That was my first one.
So. No, you go.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I like hearing you talk.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. So this may be kind of random, but I know a lot of people probably think about it from this past weekend. We had the time change for daylight savings, so we fell back an hour back to standard time. So this is the way that the time is supposed to be. Daylight savings was established. I guess you're technically not supposed to say the S, but who cares?
Everyone does.
Was established, I guess, to give the extra daylight for farmers and people who needed it. To give them that extra hour or more so of regular daytime. But this is the way time is supposed to be, I guess. So it depends on which way you like it more. I don't know. I don't like it being dark so early, and I always feel kind of tired. But and in the cold weather, I mean, I like it, but I'm definitely more of a spring and summer kind of guy. So I kind of wish we would just stay the way it was. I don't like changing at all. So I'd rather we would just, as a society, pick a time and stick with it. But I kind of like prefer the more summertime. So I wanted to ask you, how are you adjusting? How are you feeling with the time change?
Well, first of all, props to Arizona and Hawaii for not having it. I love that. I hate the time change with kids. Beforehand, when you could sleep more, that was nice. But with kids, they were all up at 5 something in the freaking morning again, and we were just up anyways. But yeah, I like the warmer seasons, so I think we should have it always closer to that.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the time change does bring in, like, this time of year, the holiday season, which is really, I guess it depends on your point of view. It could be really stressful and hard, or it can be really joyful and amazing and fun. So I know you've mentioned many times that Halloween is your favorite holiday. But what do you like just generally about this type of season? So like the last 3 months of the year, October, November, and December.
Just all the family time that we get. Like there's so many events and activities, and like we even have to sit down and calendar as a couple what we want to do together for the next few months, which we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's so much that we can do and that we have to fit it all in around real life. And I think that's really nice to like every single week have guaranteed family time and activities that we can do. I love that.
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, actually, even in the month of December, we're usually like booked to the entire month, where it's like a work party or a party for church, or making sure that we fulfill our annual tradition of going to see Christmas lights at the Thoroughbred in Rancho Cucamonga. So making sure that we fit all that in, as well as other festivities and stuff. It can be kind of cumbersome, yeah, but I love it. It's my favorite time of the year. I think it's really really great and fun. Oh, second favorite. I think the spring going into the summertime is my favorite.
How come?
I enjoy that baseball season's in full swing. So is Major League Soccer. The warmer weather, so you can kind of do like funner things like outdoor barbecues, swim parties, going to the beach. And then you usually get your big summertime blockbusters in that time, like starting in the month of May. So the first weekend in May is always reserved for like the big Marvel movie release for the year. And you usually get really cool, fun movies throughout the spring, later spring, going into the summer. So I think it's a really like fun, like exciting time of the year. So that's why I'd probably pick it as my favorite.
That sounds very Albert. Family time, sports, and entertainment.
And then usually, not always, but there usually will be like a big release from a band that I like, releasing an album around that time. Like for instance, the Red Hot Chili Peppers released their album this past April, the Unlimited Love album. So there'll usually be something really cool and exciting to listen to as far as music goes during that time frame too.
Entertainment.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so what do you have for us, Allison? What do you want to talk about?
Okay, the first question I have, and this is kind of just more silly, but we have a tradition every anniversary where we give a gift based off of what do you call it? The traditional gift for the anniversary?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Or
traditional and modern gifts. So I guess
Yeah.
like each anniversary has a specific gift that you're supposed to give. And it starts out really simple. Like I remember for the first anniversary, it's paper, right?
Yeah. And so my question is which one, if you remember them, was your favorite?
Oh, I'd probably have to be Charger tickets, which I thought were really unique and cool. That for our first anniversary, we did a weekend getaway in San Diego. And on our anniversary weekend, we got to see the Chargers back when they were still in San Diego at Qualcomm Stadium for Monday Night Football. And Allison had printed out the tickets, and there you go. It was actually more expensive pieces of paper, but technically it was paper because they were actual NFL tickets for a Chargers game. So it was fun to hang out in Old Town San Diego, have some good Mexican food while we were there, and enjoy football. It was the first time I got to see an NFL game live, so that was pretty fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think mine was also our first anniversary. We had our wedding invitation announcement framed, and we still have that up on our wall. So that's paper. But another one that I really loved, it's not necessarily like my favorite, but I just thought it was really cute. It was, I can't remember what anniversary it was, but it was cotton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you just took cotton balls and glued them or glued them, right? Glued them
I think taped them, yeah, or glue, whatever.
Yeah, to a gift card. So it was such a simple thing, just a gift card, but you got creative in how you could incorporate the theme of the anniversary with little cotton balls. I thought that was cute.
That was pretty cool. So thank you for acknowledging me.
Yes.
I want to say that year you gave me a Star Wars tie, which I still have. So it's actually a cool tie because it's little imprints of stormtrooper helmets, but it's very faint. So you have to look very closely at the tie. So when I wear it at church, I mean, like you can't even really tell unless you look really, really closely. And oh, it is a Star Wars tie. So that was a really cool gift, which is cotton. Yeah,
classy.
So, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Not cheesy, classy.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Was there anything else you have on that subject?
Your turn.
Okay. So what I wanted to talk about, what I guess would be new information that we haven't discussed as a couple, but I guess kind of reflecting on the year. So we're not quite at the end of the year just yet, but we're getting close to it. So this past year, we got to do some really cool family trips. So we got to go to Palm Springs this past summer to have like a family getaway there. and most recently go to Big Bear. So I wanted to ask you about our recent family trips. What did you enjoy both locations for Palm Springs and Big Bear?
I mean, I think overall the theme for me for both of them was just uninterrupted quality time, just simple quality time. Like for Palm Springs, we just sat at the pool all day and came and went as we pleased and had milkshakes for dinner. Like it wasn't anything crazy, but it was just nice to be together and relax. And then in Big Bear, same thing. We just like sat in the house that we rented and played games and hung out. It wasn't anything super fancy or crazy, but it was just nice to be together as a family and have that unlimited time. I think both places, the thing that stood out for me the most that was the fun activity though was the water. Like in Palm Springs, the pool area that we went to was really, really fun and had a lot of variety. And then in Big Bear, we had a place that had a hot tub, and that was really nice to go out in the hot tub as a family. And we even had one moment where we were in the hot tub when it started snowing, and that was really a special memory. So those were fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a really cool, unique experience to go to when you have the adverse weather. I mean, definitely cold weather is the time to be going. Is the time to be in the hot tub. Of course, anytime is the time to be in the hot tub, but yeah, I really enjoyed both trips. It was really fun, and it's nice that we have the variety here in Southern California, where just a hour and a half, 2 hour drive in either direction. You can get really cool, like fancy desert area with really cool resorts, or you can go up the mountain. Same amount of time to go to a really cool like sledding ski area, which we didn't do this year, but I think we'll try and do that in the future. Take Avery sledding. I think she'll really enjoy that. But to see the scenery of the mountains and to enjoy the cool sights that you got there in Old Town Big Bear. Is that what they call it?
I think they called it Old Town.
Oh, just Old Town. Yeah.
Downtown?
I don't
know.
Downtown Big Bear.
We're not Big Bear people now.
Yeah.
We have to still learn.
But it was nice. Yeah, it was really cool. The cabin was great. So both trips I thought were really relaxing and great for our family. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a cherished memory for 2022, getting to have those trips.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. My turn?
Yes.
Okay. So they say that one thing that you should know about a couple is their love language. So what's your love languages? How can I show you love?
Love language. Yeah, we talked about this before. Mm-hmm. Well, I love food, and you've become a good cook. I mean, you admitted
become.
You admitted before that
it's not false, but sorry, keep going. Become.
Well, okay, we talked about this before too. You admitted that you weren't necessarily the best cook going into our marriage, and it may be even kind of a lost art that
yes.
a lot of mothers aren't really necessarily teaching their daughters, and then like it's getting lost, or the daughters aren't necessarily wanting to learn, as it were. Like, a lot of girls today, women are good at baking, but maybe not necessarily whipping together like meals from scratch, which I mean, I'm not expecting Allison to have to do that. I mean, that'd be like a lot of work, and I don't want you to
do that. It's just too much work.
Well, don't do it.
But you know what else too is I need to teach our sons. Like as you're talking, like I'm thinking Liam needs to learn how to be able to cook, so when he goes on a mission, he can live off of more than mac and cheese.
Oh, that would have been a helpful thing for me. Yeah. But yeah, so Allison's become really good at cooking. So going back to what we're just talking about, love language. And then, you know me, just I guess things that appeal to my interests. So the various things that I love for entertainment, so if we're, going to the movies, we have tickets to go see Black Panther with our friends later this week. So that's going to be really fun. And then, I mentioned to you before that the Super Bowl is such a big deal for me, like just to have really good food and good friends and good company watching the big game. So being entertained in that way for sports. And then music, I mean, again, like I'm not saying, this isn't like a nudge, wink, wink kind of thing. But if you were to ever buy me a vinyl record of something I love, I'll never say no to that. So
I have bought you records.
You have. Okay. So you definitely done that. So I guess, gift giving for sure. But it has to, I guess, kind of be more the things that interest me. And as you know, Allison, my three primary interests would be, I guess, like sci-fi genre, fantasy entertainment, music, and sports. Mm-hmm. So
gift giving and food.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that would be my love language.
Do you know mine? That's a follow-up question.
Yours would be service.
And
tender, like gentle care, like physical contact kind of.
Yeah.
So like I always make it a point
physical
that
touch.
Like when we're ever walking by each other, I always make sure just to reach out, just like, brush her on the shoulder or the back, or just a love tap just to let you know that I'm there.
Yeah, I love that.
So I like to do that.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks.
Your turn.
Okay. So actually, okay. So Allison started this thing called high-low buffalo. So can you explain to our listeners what high-low buffalo actually is?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people do it, but it's where you share at the end of your day what was your high, meaning what was the best part of your day, what was your low, meaning what was your worst. And then buffalo is supposed to be anything random that you want to share about your day. So any factor situation that happened to you throughout that day.
It's been a great way for us to connect as a couple, and then we've even gotten Avery involved into it. So when Liam gets older, we can get Liam involved too. But to kind of converse and connect with each other and share what was going on in our days. So there could be days where we're not together at all because we're at work or school or whatever it is, or there could be days where we were home the entire day, which is pretty cool. But always making sure that we make that effort to connect. And then again, I love the buffalo aspect of just sharing just some random factoid that's kind of exciting and cool. So that being said, I do have a buffalo for you. Okay, so I just saw that your favorite cookie place, Crumble Cookie, is opening up a location just down the street from Space Bank, Pasadena.
No way.
Oh yeah, right on Foothill Boulevard, near Sierra Madre. No, I'm sorry, not Michelinda. If you know that area pretty well. Yeah, right in that shopping center where there's an old Sears that closed down. So just a little bit east of that Sears and that big shopping center area, they're opening a brand new Crumble Cookie. So I'll be able to pick up some Crumble Cookie on the way home from work and bring it home.
I was going to say, do you know what that means, right?
Yeah, so that's Allison's other love language is bringing home Crumble Cookie.
So you have to bring one home every day you work now.
Yeah, but good. I think I only work like once a week. But so actually I wanted to bring that up. So for good friends of Allison's, I'm sure they absolutely know that she loves Crumble Cookie. It's been like her favorite treat, the go-to snack for you. Over the past, I guess, year and a half or 2 years, because they're a relatively newer company, right?
To us, they've been in other areas for a while.
So what is the appeal of Crumble Cookie? Or explain to the listeners who may not know, what is Crumble Cookie?
Oh my gosh, they're like these giant, delicious cookies, and they're just so tasty, and they have a variety of flavors, and I just think they're made so well, and they're huge. They're so good. Oh, and they mix up the flavors with you. So you could go in and there's 6 different flavors on any given day. And there's a couple staple ones, like they have a chocolate chip and a sugar cookie that are always the same, but then they mix up all these amazing flavors. And sometimes they're kind of funky. Like I remember one of them was like a sour watermelon, and you're like, whoa, that sounds horrible, but it was delicious. So somehow they make it work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually, there's been some pretty unique ones that we've had, right? And when we get them for friends, I mean, they're really popular, so people just love eating them. There's very, very rarely are there leftovers when it comes to Crumble Cookies.
Is this a paid ad?
No.
We should start charging.
Oh, that's funny. So brand new Crumble Cookies. They're not open just yet, but they're going to be opening very soon. My guess is they'll probably be open right in time for the Christmas season, which I think will be really popular time for people to have sweets of that type, Christmas type cookies. But again, as Allison mentioned, Crumble offers tons of really cool variety of cookies. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely check out Crumble Cookie. And it seems to be that locations are coming up more and more frequently. Whereas, before there was just in our local area, just in Glendora first, right? Mm-hmm. And then one opened up here in Upland in our neighborhood. Now we have one opening in Pasadena. If you probably Google search it, there's probably lots of locations here in the Southern California area. So Crumble Cookie, give them a check out.
Love it. Good job.
Thanks.
And then pay us Crumble.
Yeah.
Or just pay us in cookies. I'm good with that too.
Okay, what do you have?
Okay, so you've often said that you've learned how to be married because of your parents, watching their example in their marriage. Tell me about that.
My parents, I mean, again, I got to talk to them exclusively for the podcast this past summer, so I got to hear more about their relationship, which was always great for me to see, is that they always did their Friday night date nights with their friends. So they would go on a big group date and go out to dinner, and then they would host karaoke parties, because my dad loved to sing karaoke. I don't know if you knew that about it.
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, my dad was a really big karaoke singer. So we
still do. We should do karaoke sometime.
We've done it before, haven't we? At my parents' house. Okay, no. I don't think they have the player anymore, but you have YouTube now, so you put on YouTube on the TV, have a microphone, you're good to go. But my parents had the actual Laserdisc player, so you pop in the disc with the music, And we even had a few movies on Laserdisc, like The Wizard of Oz,
Oh yeah.
which was kind of cool. So yeah, the karaoke player machine would play Laserdisc movies, and then of course the disc itself, which my parents had. But as I mentioned in the podcast, when I got to talk to them this past summer, I always was impressed to see them go out and make that effort to have Friday night date nights with their friends. And as a courtesy to me and to my brothers, at the time, I believe Adriana was up at BYU for school. So they would always finish early. I mean, they would start early and finish early. So like they'd be going out as early as 5 and then returning home around like 7:30, maybe the latest 8 o'clock. So that myself, Fernando, and Danny, if we wanted to go out, we still could with our friends on a Friday night. Because someone had to obviously watch Monica. Our younger sister was too little to be left alone. So it was great to see them make that effort, and like they very rarely ever missed a Friday night date night, which was cool. They mentioned on the podcast that they weren't able to really make like the huge elaborate vacations because of my dad's working scenario, but it was still great to see the love and affection they would have for each other, and then the love and affection they would have for all of us kids. Very cool. Was there anything else with my parents?
Nope.
Okay. Your shows. I always love chatting about your shows, or because again, there's shows I don't really watch that often, but there are certain shows that maybe I'll ask Allison, hey, how's this going with this show? How's this going there? Particularly, I guess, Dancing with the Stars is one that you enjoy because there will be certain celebrities who will be on. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad that person's on. I want to see how they do in the competition. And they usually do pretty lousy. Like, for instance, Billy D. Williams, who's really old, who played Lando Calrissian in the original Star Wars trilogy. I guess he got knocked out pretty early when he was on. Martin Kove, who played John Kreese from the Karate Kid movies and now more recently the Cobra Kai show. He's also an old man. He got knocked out pretty easily.
Well, maybe that's why you keep voting for the old men.
And then Wayne Brady, he got knocked out too, right? He's not on anymore.
Don't say that. I haven't gone that far. Spoiler alert.
Oh shoot! Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm always behind.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh,
I liked him too.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I totally ruined it for Allison, so she probably has to get back at me. Maybe she's gonna find out Black Panther spoilers.
Oh no, April Fools will come around soon enough. Don't worry.
Okay, that was on accident. I didn't mean to do that. So yeah, so anyway, so Allison will tell me oftentimes she's about the show she's watching, and sometimes I'll share it with her. So again, it's a way for us to do like our high-low Buffalo, where we just share our lives with each other, because there are shows that we love watching together, which are fun. But again, these are kind of more the shows that Allison watches on her own. So how are you enjoying your shows now?
Well, I was until you ruined Wayne Brady. I also watched The Voice. You want to ruin that one for me too?
I don't know who's on The Voice anymore.
You're funny. Well, it kind of ties into a question I had for us. Like, out of the shows we watched together, which one have you enjoyed the most this year?
Oh, okay. Well, just going specifically this year, I really, really enjoyed Ted Lasso. I mean, we're kind of late to the party because it was really big and popular, I guess, during 2020 when COVID first hit. But yeah, Ted Lasso is a really great, inspiring show. It's really funny. It is a little high on the cursing, so sorry everyone. But if you're able to get past that, I mean, it's a really excellent show about how inspiring of an individual Ted Lasso is. And me, obviously, being a huge soccer fan, I just love it involving being a part of the story, which is great. It doesn't take a backseat at all. I think soccer is very much a huge, integral part of the story, the plot that's going on. But yeah, Ted Lasso is a really great show. We enjoyed. Besides Ted Lasso, I'm trying to think what else this year that we liked. Murders in the Building, we also enjoyed. That was a great one. Trying to think. Obi-Wan. A lot of the Star Wars and Marvel shows have been good. She-Hulk was enjoyable. The Rings of Power, I really, really loved. I got to chat with the Crosses, Kimmy and Nathan, about that. And I know, as we mentioned on that podcast, the Rings of Power has been a little bit controversial, a bit of a show between the fans, but I personally loved it. I thought it was really great. So yeah, there's no shortage of great shows to watch.
Yeah, I thought Rings of Power was especially good, and I'm not one to like really be into that kind of stuff. Like when you said this is what we're watching, I'm like, oh, okay, this will probably be one I just kind of sit there and like hang out with you. But I really thought they did a good job with it. So I mean, I know I'm not a hardcore fan with huge value in that opinion, but it was really good.
Yeah, you did pick out some key stuff, which was really cool. So you picked out Gandalf, and you recognize who Isildur was, I believe.
Yes,
So
when
that
they
was
said his name.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty
I
cool.
guess I've watched enough of it with you then, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Or at least the original trilogy
Right,
of Lord of the Rings movies.
right.
Very cool. Did you have something for me?
Okay, so if you were to talk to somebody who's about to get married, now we're hitting 8 years, right, of marriage, what advice would you give someone? Like top three things.
I think look at the small everyday miracles and the small everyday victories that occur. So by no means should you ever have to like ever rest on your laurels, like, oh, we're out of the woods now. But I've read somewhere that I think most marriages only last 8 years at max.
Oh, that's not good. We're almost done.
No, that means we're gonna beat the average,
Oh,
right?
okay.
We're about to.
I hope so.
In fact, actually, let me Google search that really quick. I've heard that before, so I just want to just take a look really quick.
I thought it was no 7 years is the itch, right? 8 years is the.
Maybe, yeah.
I thought it was 7 years is the end or the average.
7 to 8 years. Okay,
Oh, there we
according
go.
to a Google search, yeah, 7 to 8 years is the average length for marriages. So,
That's so sad.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, so that is sad. So, it's grateful that we're here. And again, marriage is tough. It's a difficult thing to do, but
Being married to me is not tough.
marriage in any regard, I think it can be challenging and difficult because I mean you have to think selflessly. Thank you. Think about your spouse above your own needs, and then when you have kids, think about their needs above your own.
And then still try and remember who your spouse is in between the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And then realize that life changes, that I mean, my life is way different now than it was, just a few years ago, where I've taken on the Mr. Dad role, where, I'm working very few hours, but I'm constantly in school for my master's degree. For graduate school, and then of course being home to take Avery to her various destinations, whether it's soccer practice, swimming lessons, softball, picking her up from school, picking Liam up from daycare, or being home to watch both kids. My life is different, but I think you enjoy the differences as they come. So and then look at the small victories that occurred, that we have a great successful marriage now, that we were able to successfully adopt Liam, that Avery's doing well in school. In fact, when we had our very first parent teacher conference with Avery's teacher, and we heard that she's doing fantastic in school, I guess like taking that victory, that yes, we're doing great as parents. So remembering the small victories that you have, because recognize them because they're always there, and I think that can help you in any trying, difficult times. To remember that. Yeah. So that'd be one.
You don't have to come up with more than one. That's good.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
sufficient. I like that one.
Okay.
I would say a similar thing, like looking for the small things, but I would say it in courtship. Like if you pay attention with maybe taking off rose-colored glasses and you really look for the small ways that the person you're dating acts, look for them and how they treat other people and in how they treat small things, like do they take the time to push the cart over where it goes? Like that's such a silly small thing, which I fail at all the time. I want to put my cart next to the car and I walk away. But the little things like that show that that's someone that is considerate to others, and those little moments add up. So I would say like going into a relationship is to look for the small moments, and then when you're in the relationship to look for the small things that they do too. Like I remember the first time that Albert thanked me for something really, really small. I think I poured him like a glass of milk or something, and he was like, "Thank you." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, thank you for pouring me a glass of milk." And I just thought that is such a simple thing. You didn't need to thank me. It's not like I'm going anywhere if you didn't, but he made the effort to do that. So the small things like that really, really add up.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I definitely wanted to show my love and appreciation, and it's grateful that we both have the opportunity to, at various times, just serve each other in something simple, like if when we're vegging, as Allison called it, we discussed that on the previous podcast, like on the couch just watching a show or something like that. Like we'll take turns, like, oh, I'm gonna get you a little treat, or I'm gonna get you a drink or something like that. So making sure that we do little acts of service for each other when we can, I think it's very, very healthy and important to do.
But I think you should be honest with the listeners that 90% of the time you're the one that gets up and gets the treat.
Yeah,
probably, yeah, because you're the kind one.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Very cool. But then, well, speaking of, the importance of dates, we just talked about it with my parents showing me the great example. and how healthy it is for marriages to be doing that. For dates, we've had quite a few this year. We've had lots of sitters, which is great. So shout out to our sitters. Thank you so much for taking such good care of our kids. It's not underappreciated because again, it can be a handful to take care of them both. But all the sitters we've had have been really wonderful and great. So watching out for our kids, and we're grateful for that. So thank you. What's been your favorite date for this calendar year of 2022?
Oh man, it's hard to narrow down. Do you have yours in mind?
Oh, I absolutely do. Right.
Okay, you go first. So I can think.
Well, I'm grateful that I also have this plug-in that I can use the podcast or this forum to talk about this more, because I only touched on it just very, very briefly when I had our friend Kim Bitsity on the podcast. My favorite date that we've done this year has for sure, hands down, the Killers concert at the loser soccer stadium that hosted a championship, whatever. But
okay,
that concert was so much fun. Johnny Marr opened for the Killers. Allison and I unfortunately got there a little bit late, so we missed most of his set, but we were able to catch some great songs. You know, he did a Smith's cover song of "There's a Light That Never Goes Out," and a few of his other really big hit songs. So that was really great. How Soon Is Now, he played that as well. It's another Smiths classic. And then the Killers, they were really, really fantastic. A lot of great energy. Their songs were great. And he was really special was that there was actually a cancer survivor who was in attendance, and they actually brought him on stage to play drums for a song.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was a really
my favorite moment, and he was really good actually.
Yeah, he was like a professional player. Probably a dream come true for him. I'm assuming the Killers are probably one of his favorite bands.
Yeah,
so that was really great to see. And then
I cried during that.
And then all the big hit songs. So Smile Like You Mean It, Somebody Told Me. And then ending with Mr. Brightside, which is probably their most well-known song. So, and then, I'm trying to think When You Were Young was one of my favorites from the Samstown album. And then from their newest one, their most Imploding the Mirage, I think it's a really great album. So songs like the first song, what's the name of it?
I don't know where you are. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I just know it as the first song on the album and it's the song that they opened with. And then Shot at the Night, which I guess is a song that's not on any of their albums. It was on their Greatest Hits album. So the Killers was a blast. It was really great. Brandon Flowers is a great showman, and I can't say enough great things about the concert itself. The venue, whatever, I'll take it or leave it. But again, that's where they chose to play. So
true.
Yeah. So that was definitely my favorite date for 2022.
Awesome. I think mine was I have two. Can I give two?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, my first one was the Garth Brooks concert.
That was a good rate.
Mostly because I mean we had great seats. It was a great concert, but we also like got to go away to San Diego, just the two of us for overnight.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was the first time that we've left our kids for over 24 hours.
Yeah, and it was really nice to just be able to be away, the two of us, for that period of time. So that was my favorite. And then, but we also had a date night this year. I think we've done it a couple times actually, where we just got like an hour of a sitter and went down to the hot tub here at our complex and just sat and talked and watched movies and got in and out and just like got to be together for an hour without having to talk about bills and schedules and kids. And that was really sweet too. So I think, it can be lesson learned, exciting and fun and expensive, like a Garth Brooks weekend in San Diego, or it can be a simple hour out with some in and out in a hot tub. And that just is a lesson that you just have to put the effort into it.
No, absolutely. Very good. Very good. Yeah, both of those were really great experiences and lots of fun. Do you have anything else for me?
What have you learned that you want to take into the next year with our marriage?
Well, it's an important thing to do, and Allison has talked about this. We talked about this off the air, and because we're very transparent people, I think we're okay with sharing it on a recording. Allison has become quite the talented party planner. I don't know if she was really before we got married. Was that something you were doing before?
Yeah, I threw parties before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not to the extent I have now, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was going to suggest that when we were living in Covina and we became really good friends with the Holtzclaw family, Emily Holtzclaw is an amazing party planner, very talented.
Yeah, she took my party level to a whole new level.
Okay, that's the assumption that I was going to make, that either it was entirely because of her or she helped raise your interest in it even more. So
No, she showed me what I could do.
okay.
She inspired me.
Yeah.
My muse. Emily, you're my muse.
So anyways, yeah, so Allison's quite the party planner, and there's been lots of people who have expressed interest in using Allison's services because Allison is very talented and can get a lot done. And we talked about it that I don't want to put no, by no means at all did it put a strain on our marriage, but sometimes it was a little difficult not having her around as much. But I understand that other people need her too, so I can't hold her all for myself, even though sometimes I'd like to. But so we did talk about maybe cutting back a little bit on the parties or being able to. I know there's some a few big things that you'll still need to do in 2023, but I guess as a couple to maybe maybe we should slow down a little more. And I think that'll be really great that as I continue on with grad school and then we continue to provide for our family and work when we can. Of course, Allison's been the workhorse. Allison's been really fantastic with the amount that she works. But making sure that we're also still present for our kids, which again is something that we do great, but I think we can always do even a little better. So I think that's what we're looking forward to doing in 2023.
Okay, so you heard it here, folks. He expects me to slow down.
Well, you said you would, and I believe you. So.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
But if we don't, I mean, again, nobody's perfect. So again, if we find that we're not, then we reevaluate and then we set new goals for each other. But I think that's the important thing to remember. That again, it's a little early to be talking about New Year's resolutions, but I think because if we initially starts to stumble and fall a little short, we get discouraged and just say, forget it, I'm just gonna just give up. No, if it's not quite working out, readjust, make adjustments to your goals and then just go from there. And then I think it's important to remember that nobody's perfect and that we may not always hit the goals that we set for ourselves. And if we're not, then just make adjustments as needed.
I think the thing that I would take from this year that I want us to continue doing, that I think we do really well, is to have good communication moving forward. Like we're really good about Sunday nights. We sit down, we look at the week, we calendar, we plan, we figure out who's going where with what. I think I love when I walk in the door at night and the kids go to bed finally and we sit down and we're both so tired and Albert turns to me and says, do you want to connect? Let's talk about our day. And I just love that. Like we just sit for just a short period of time even and communicate. And I think we're really good at communicating as a couple. Not that we're perfect by any means, but trying to stay on the same page. And we set goals, we reevaluate, and we plan. And I just think that we're both really good at that individually. And so that together as a couple, that's one of our strengths.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I want to keep doing that in the next year.
Very good. I think we should absolutely do that. That'll be really wonderful to do that as a couple and continue to grow together.
Good plan.
Very good. Did you have anything else for me tonight?
Okay, I got one more.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay? Do you have enough time?
Yeah, we got time.
Okay. One more question. What is, if you could put your favorite perfect day together of just the two of us as a couple, what would it look like?
Well, it's kind of funny. I like doing really cool, extravagant things. So doing something like, in the evening, going to see one of our favorite sports teams to get to see the Dodgers or the Galaxy play or the Lakers. Lakers have been pretty horrible, but I mean, just to go.
I'd still go.
Yeah, we would still go. We would still go. In the evening to do that. But of course, at the same time, doing one of Allison's favorite things to do that are kind of really extravagant and fun would be to go to the Pantages to see a show that she wants to see. So doing something like that in the evening to close it out, but at the same time, making sure that we go to one of our favorite restaurants. So we could, do something simple like In-N-Out.
Oh, no, a Brazilian restaurant.
Or do a little more extravagant, like a Brazilian churrascaria.
Oh, yeah.
Or Cheesecake Factory, which again is one of our favorites. But then little things in between, like, it could be really cool that in the morning to go bike riding, like near in the Santa Monica area, like along the beach area, the bike trails that are there. I mentioned that in my conversation with the Welling brothers, that was a really fun thing. And I've never done that with Allison. So that'd be cool. And then also just to go crate shopping or crate digging at record stores, because that's something small that I love to do, but just to buy myself something like that and have Allison come with me. So to fill our day with as many of those activities, or we could even do it simple, like you mentioned, like just bringing down the tablet or laptop to the pool area, watching a show while we have In-N-Out in the jacuzzi. So there's so many different things I'd like to do. It'd be really hard to fit it all in, but just filling our day with a variety of fun things like that would be really great if it were just you and I.
That'd be fun. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen before I die.
Okay.
We are doing the one thing tomorrow for our anniversary that's kind of fun. We are going to go crate shopping for a few minutes, but I think we're going to go to Chili's, where in Glendora, where we actually had our first date, and just have lunch there together. Nothing fancy, but just to be together at that same location. 10 years to the date, right?
Yeah, that's really exciting and fun. So we'll get to do that, and then in the evening, take the kids out to go to Cold Stones for some ice cream. I think it'd be really great to spend time with them and have them a part of the day. I mean, we had to express to Avery how important tomorrow is for us as a couple. So, but speaking of that though, so I wanted to also bring out a quick shout out. I mean, it's our anniversary, so it's really, really important, but so is family relationships. So I wanted to take a moment to wish a happy birthday to our wonderful sister-in-law, Jackie. So happy birthday, Jackie.
Happy birthday, Jack.
You're probably not listening to the podcast, but if you are, happy birthday. We love you and hope you have a great day, because you're very kind to let us get married on your birthday.
yeah, seriously, that was a really big sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were so many people, even to this day, like when we have our anniversary, I tried really hard to text and at least say thank you to those who were a part of our day. There's so many people that stepped up to help us with everything for the wedding day itself. And our relationship, and through the years, people have stepped up repeatedly. So we've been touched by service a lot, but we're just really grateful for all those of you who are in our lives, and we're in our lives that have gotten us to this point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Was there anything else for tonight, sweetheart?
No, I love you.
Thanks. I love you too. This has been a really fun banter. Maybe not super witty, but it's still like great.
Yeah, I'm witty.
Yeah, you are. But it's still just fun just to talk important things about our relationship. And I think we talked about some new things, new material we haven't covered yet. So I hope people enjoyed that, to sharing with us about how our year has been, how our marriage has been, and what we hope to see in the future. So thank you to all the listeners for listening to the Casting for Fun podcast. There's going to be an additional episode this week. I'm going to be doing an episode talking about the recent Star Wars cartoon show with Nick and Eddie, and some other geek news, because there's been some really cool news in the past couple of weeks for both Marvel and DC. So thank you for listening to this episode. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Bye, friends.
Thank you so much, everyone. You've been listening to the Casting for Fun podcast. Have a good night.
Bye.